I absolutely love making these stargazer lilies. They're one of my favourites. They're a little bit more effort and a bit more time consuming to do them this way, but they give a more realistic look. So if somebody has ordered one of my luxury bouquets, this is how I make the stargazer lilies to go in it. And because I enjoy it so much, I don't mind that it takes me a little bit longer. I use luster dust to put the colour on the centre of the petals. This one is made by Sugar Flare, and I've chosen dusky pink. You can choose any shade of pink that you want to add to the centre of your petals. And it means you can pipe everything just in white and add the colour after. I've normally got a bigger paintbrush, but I can't find it. But you want to make sure, whichever brush you use, that you've got extremely good quality. Don't go to the pound shop. Invest in a good one, because you don't want the bristles falling out while you're dusting your flowers. So invest in a good quality paintbrush with nice soft bristles. Now you need the buttercream to have set before you can add the colour. And I speed the process up by popping that into the freezer for 10 to 15 minutes. It won't freeze the cake, but it will set the buttercream. When it's had its 15 minutes in the freezer, you want to work quite quickly because it's just set the buttercream, it hasn't fully frozen. So take up your colour, have a piece of paper towel handy, and just pop a little bit of that powder onto your paper towel. Then take up your good quality paintbrush and just dab it into the colour, just a little bit, you don't need loads. I like to start off by coming up the centre of the first petal. So I'm just very gently brushing that colour on. You can add a little bit more as you go. You can clean off your brush if it gets damp on the paper towel. And then I just eke the colour out towards the edges of the petal. So you've got this lovely bit of colour in the centre, and you're gradually fading it as you get towards the edges, and that's what gives it that lovely realistic look. So you can add as much colour as you like. I'm going to speed up the video now for the next two. So it's exactly the same process. By adding this colour on now before your second lot of petals, you can keep that colour to the centre of each one without getting the dust on the edges of the other petals. So I'll put the next three on now. So I've got the 366 leaf tip, so make sure you know where your point is. And then I'm going to put these on exactly the same way as I do. I don't go in the centre. I start at the top here, come over those two petals, over your little blob, stop and come off, and just add each petal on. And then that can go back into the freezer for 10 to 15 minutes to set that buttercream. And then you can do it exactly the same thing. You just add your colour to the centre of each petal. If I'm doing a bouquet with a few of these, I will pipe all the lilies, the first three petals first, and then one at a time I'll add the colour, and then I'll put the other petals on back into the freezer, and one at a time I do the next stage. So I'm never freezing the cake, it's always just to set the buttercream, but you can get a conveyor belt system going on. And while they're in the freezer, I get on with the other flowers. I put my timer on so I know when they've got to come out, and I can get on with doing the other things, so I'm not sitting around waiting. Now you'll notice when you've put the colour on, the powder will develop little dark wet dots where it's coming back to room temperature, And this gives a really lovely realistic look to the flower. And now you can fill in the rest of the flower. So for the centre, I've had some white buttercream and I added a little bit of olive green, and I've got the number 3 round piping tip to make the centre stamen. So push all the buttercream down to the bottom of the bag and make sure it's really nice and tight. And then I come right down in the middle to the bottom of the cake, squeeze out a really good base, get it really anchored to the cake, and then slowly lift up. And your centre stamen will stay put because you've got that good base. If you want to, you can go around and add a few thinner stamen coming out. I think they look really good with the centre stamen on its own, as well as with a few little spindly ones. So it's totally up to you if you want to add them in. And then to fill in the gaps, I'm just going to take up the 352 leaf tip and add a little leaf just to cover up the cupcake case. And I've got olive green in here. So that is how I make my more realistic looking Stargazer lilies.